All right, shoulder day. This is the last workout for week 5 of this 16-week program. So we're going to be hitting shoulders, doing a combination of dumbbells with resistance bands. Before we do, though, we're going to warm up. It's not just a warm-up, shoulder conditioning. We want to strengthen all those small muscles in our rotator cuff. Plus, if you're anything like me, working around any kind of shoulder pain, I got a twingy shoulder, so see when we work around that, have an awesome shoulder workout. All right, I'm going to reverse this, go backwards. Nice. All right, knocking out internal rotation, so that's coming inward, and external rotation going outward, knocking them out at the same time. Tuck those elbows in and resist with the opposite arm. Oh yeah, my left shoulder feels like shit. So if I were to just jump into my workout right now, start trying to press things, it would be all bad. Been trying to play it smart with my workouts. Keep them going, and working around this injury. I actually think these movements are the only thing that's keeping it at bay. I'm going to do a few more. Nice. I'm going to take the same band, elbows up to shoulder height, rotate backward. That's 9. I'm going to do 3 more. Nice. 1 more. Oh, yeah. So 2 more movements real quick. And I don't mind taking the time doing these because just making your shoulders stronger overall. So this one's going to be a pull apart, nice and high, face height, and pull out towards the sides. It's a great warm-up, but this is also an awesome exercise for rear delts. The only difference is in my actual sets, I would go heavier. Nice, 1 more. I'm gonna try a variation here of a lateral raise. A lot of times I'll do these singles, just one arm at a time. But I was trying these the other week just to speed things up, do both arms at the same time. So stepping on the band, crossing it, getting this X, and now we can do both arms. I'm gonna do 6 more, and then we'll be ready for this workout. Nice. All right. Real quick, just bring that arm across the body. Just loosen up a little here. And arms overhead. Going back. All right. Let's do this. So we're going to do a combination. Dumbbells plus bands and a shoulder press. This is one that has not felt so good for me lately. So I'm going to try to challenge myself here, but not fuck up my shoulder more than it already is. So with that said, I'm going to start off with the bands. They don't bother me as much as the dumbbells do. So we're going to, let's try this band. So we're going to do, for this first set, single arm press overhead. So dropping under it. And when we do these, I'm not just pressing straight up and down here. I was saying this the other week. See how much movement I have at the elbow here? Using a lot more triceps here. So I like to kick my arm out, my hand out a little bit, and press more out to the side a little bit. Straight up. And it's minimizing a little bit of that movement at the elbow, putting more focus on the deltoids. And then just slow this down, rushing these too fast. There. Nice. I just made it a lot harder. I got one more. Good stuff. So trying to keep more controlled tempo. It's easy to start rushing through those reps. So sometimes I'll count it off in my head. We were doing this yesterday in our leg workout. So on the push, the concentric, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and I'm counting out the reps. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 5. That's 7. There's 9, 3 more. One more. Nice. So that actually felt pretty good in that left shoulder, the one that's bothering me. So like I said, if you want to make it a little harder, instead of it going here or even here, you can even think about pushing outward just a little bit. And that is going to kick up the intensity, and then slowing down that rep speed a little bit kicks up the intensity without having to use as much resistance. My goal is always, how do I make the weight feel heavier? So it's not always just going heavier and heavier and heavier. It's figuring out different ways to kick up the intensity and make that muscle work harder. I'm going to squeeze around you here. All right, light stretch. So that's set one. Now we're going to transition to dumbbells. And see, we challenge ourselves a little bit. Now, I used to do all my dumbbell presses on a bench with a backrest. And I stopped doing that years ago because I found myself cheating all the time. And I'll show you what that looks like. So if you come over here from the side, instead of staying nice and upright in my presses, what I would start to do is slink down a little bit, start arching my back, and I felt stronger this way. And we are stronger this way, so we start to use more of our upper chest in this movement. So easier for me just to eliminate the backrest entirely. Now here's the thing, you're not going to feel as strong. And that's why people love doing it with the backrest, is because you're able to move more weight. But it's not about moving more weight. It's about making that targeted muscle work harder. So we want to be nice and disciplined here. Now, truthfully, I have no idea how much weight I should do here. Like, what's that fine line? Using enough resistance without aggravating my shoulder, but we'll start here. Let's see how this feels. All right. So neutral hand position. I don't turn them out like this. Just more neutral position. Same thing with the elbows. We're going to press straight up. Okay, I'm going to drop down a little bit. I can press these no problem, but not going to be able to do them for my targeted reps using the technique that we're talking about, which is pressing more straight up. If I were to do these more of a traditional press where I feel stronger, no problem. But doing it slower and using that technique, no. All right, pressing straight up. Nice and smooth. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hit that wall here. Let me try to get one more. Nope. I'm going to Shake it out for a second. Try to squeeze out 1 or 2 more reps. I'd rather rest for just a second than try to force out some ugly reps. There we go. Oh. So this is where you have to do a little ego check. Could easily just focus on heavy weights, but heavy weights aren't always going to build muscle the way you want. It's not about just moving heavy weight. It's about, again, making that muscle work hard. And there's other ways to do that. So we're doing it one with technique. So instead of just pressing here, using a lot of triceps, we're trying to take some of the triceps out, so you're not going to be as strong. We're slowing down rep speed. That's going to make it harder. So get a really good workout without having to bang up our body as much, trying to sling around heavy weight. All right. If we wanted to, I'm not going to because I find it to be awkward, but if you wanted to try it, you could do a combination of the dumbbells plus bands. You could do them standing, or you could even take the band and sit on it and anchor that onto the dumbbells and do a combination of the dumbbell plus the bands. I've done it before. It feels pretty good. It gets a little awkward though, so I think we're gonna do something different. We're going to go back to the same weight I just used. That was a good set. We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna turn around and use the bands to get a few more reps as a finisher. So here we go. One, two, 1, 2. Nice and controlled. That's only 7. Shake it out here. Little rest pause method. It's a intensity boosting technique that we'll use more later on. It's helpful when you're training by yourself. You don't have a training partner to assist you with some of those extra reps. It's 9. And there's 10. All right. We're immediately transition to the bands. So anchoring that under our feet. This is different than our first set where we did singles. It's 2. Stuck here. There it is. Oh, nice. All right, so that was 3 sets. So now we're going to move to rear delts. I feel like kind of the three heads of the deltoid. So anterior, front, middle, and rear delt. The rear delts have a tendency to get a little neglected compared to the anterior delt that gets worked a lot with even a lot of our chest movements. So a lot of times I'll prioritize that and do that earlier on in my workout while I'm fresh and I have more energy and I can put more intensity into it. So we're going to do something similar to our last exercise. We're going to do exercise 1, bands only. Then we're going to move into dumbbells and then use bands as a finisher. So for bands only, since we don't have to worry about gravity to create our plane of resistance, we can do these standing. What I want you to think about is bringing those hands out to the side. Doesn't take a big range of motion. If you look sideways, it's about full range of motion right there. You don't have to get back here because anything past this is going to be the middle of your trapezius, getting those rhomboids more involved. So we want to really target rear delts. So don't think about squeezing backwards, just think about squeezing out to the sides. And the band itself is a good cue because as soon as it hits your face, that's far enough. So right there. Control those rep speeds. I'm gonna do 4 more. One more. Nice. So now that we transition to dumbbells, one of the nice things about controlling our concentric is not just the added time under tension, but we're also going to eliminate a lot of the momentum that people will use in the beginning of the range of motion to get that weight in motion. And it's just a form of cheating. So by making that movement more controlled, more deliberate, it's going to definitely bump up the intensity. So with these, I like to raise the bench up just under 45 degrees. Probably could go a little higher if you wanted to. I go super light with these because you don't need a lot of resistance. Our rear delts are relatively small muscles, and the only way to use heavier weight is to start using a lot of, like I said, your trapezius, and you'll feel that because you'll feel your scapular, your shoulder blades squeezing together. We don't want that. This is not a back exercise. This is a rear delt specific move. So, grab a little baby weight here. And I'm thinking about the exact same thing that I did with bands, thinking about going out towards the sides. And I also think about going higher, meaning out here towards the side of my head as opposed to back here. If I come back here, I'm going to engage more of those muscles in my back again. So it'll look like this. Nice and controlled. No swing here. We got, look, it's like a pendulum, right? I can just swing back and forth. I'm not working any muscles here. So there's a lot of opportunity from here to generate a lot of movement or momentum. We don't want to do that. Everything controlled. There. That's all it takes. And then I stop short. Don't need to come any more towards the center. Otherwise, you're just going to be tempted to use momentum.
Nice. So we drop those, grab that band again. Let's finish it off. Nice. One more. Yeah, that was perfect. That felt great. Stretch everything out a little bit. Arms overhead. Across the body. That was a good set. That felt great. So we're going to do the same thing. But honestly, I'm going to drop down in resistance. These are only 15-pound dumbbells. I'm going to go down to 10. But just to prove a point, say go a lot heavier. Here's what it would end up looking like. Well, first of all, most people don't even use a bench when they want to use more momentum. A lot of times they'll do these bent over like this. And this is what I see people doing. That's nothing. That is a horrible technique for rear delts. Look at these little baby weights. We're going to make this burn. The way I'm going to accentuate this a little bit is think about going even more out to the sides. Think about how leverage works. Try grabbing the handle of a shovel in the middle of the handle and hold it out in front of you. It's pretty easy. Try grabbing that shovel by the very end of the handle and holding it out in front of you. That same weight all of a sudden becomes very difficult. That's leverage working against you. So same thing here with our arms. That's our lever arm. Here we go. So go back to that heavy weight. Think how close I had that to the body. So keep that in mind when it comes to leverage. So using heavy weight like that and that technique, can you make the rear delts work? Yeah, I mean, I know plenty of pro bodybuilders that do it just like that. It's just a lot of wasted effort, a lot of wasted energy, and a lot of wasted wear and tear on the body. So that's set 3. Those are rear delts. Now we're going to turn our attention to middle delts with our lateral raises. I like that crossover that we did for a warm-up, but I don't like the squeeze as much as I do with singles. So We're gonna do our first exercise, band only. And then we're going to transition to dumbbells, and same thing, use bands as our finisher. So, let me move this bench out of the way so you can see. So, the arm that we're gonna work, step on it with that foot, and then step on it with the opposite foot. Now we have this nice angle of pull here out towards the side. So we have tension here in the beginning of the range of motion, whereas with dumbbells we wouldn't. Here we have that kind of pendulum action with the dumbbells. We don't feel it to about here, which is why I typically stop short, and my range of motion is from here to here where I have tension. But with a band, I have tension here from the very beginning. That's 5. Same tempo with our reps. 6. Burning. 7. 8. 9. One more. Oh man. They don't make any kind of cream for that kind of burn. Not that I would know. All right. There's 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Now, there are a lot of experts out there, some with great credentials, some with big YouTube followings, talking about these exaggerated ranges of motion. It's not necessary. I've said this before. There's a difference between full range of motion of a muscle versus full range of motion for that joint. So, for our middle delt, it's working the hardest from here to here. Range of motion past this is where the trapezius starts to kick in. Trapezius, kind of fumbled that one. So here to here, middle delt, here and above, we start using a lot of traps. So we're trying to target middle delts here. This isn't some sort of like compound movement. We're trying to target. That's what bodybuilding style training is trying to put muscle where you want to put muscle. By the way, did I do both sides? I did? So anyway, I'm not an advocate of it. Most of the people I hear talking about it, even some of the guys that are older, are still only 40. At 40, I was still doing a bunch of stupid shit too because I was still able to get away with it. Now, 10 years later, starting to rethink a lot of that stuff. So my opinion has changed, and I believe that a lot of these people that are advocating this stuff, their opinion too will change. And one day they'll look back and they'll say, you know, I used to believe that, and I realized that was a mistake. So, you know, you're going to have to pick and choose who you decide to listen to. You can do it, but at the end of the day, what are you going to, you know, pick up the phone? Are you going to leave a YouTube comment and be like, fuck you, my shoulder's all fucked up because I listened to your videos? No, it's your fault. So you're going to have to pick and choose. All right, we're going to move to dumbbells. Same thing as rear delts. We don't need a lot of resistance here. Believe it or not, my favorite dumbbell for lateral raises I don't even have, because I jump from 10-pound dumbbells to 15-pound dumbbells. 10's a little light, 15's a little more than I like to do, but we'll go with what I've got. So like I said, really no resistance down here. I could do this, you know, for 100 reps. This doesn't feel like anything. Resistance doesn't start until about here. So this is typically what I do, is I'll start and stop here. So nice and controlled, squeeze, control it back down, stop short. 2, turn back. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. 10. And this is where we'll grab that band and do that crossover technique. Just finish mob. And get a little more range of motion because we have tension down here at the bottom. One more. Oh, man. Nice. That felt great. You know, I always say that in order to learn from our mistakes, we have to be able to associate the consequences with the action. And the problem with resistance training is there's such a disconnect between the two, because the actions that we take in our 20s and 30s, we don't feel until we're in our 40s and 50s and 60s. So it's one of those unfortunate things that one day we all of a sudden realize the error in our ways, but it's kind of too late. So I always say that the younger lifters, the ones that are smarter, are going to heed the advice of the older guys who have been there, done that. I wasn't that guy, though. I was stubborn and stupid. Thought I was invincible, bulletproof. Youth. Think we can get away with all sorts of stuff. All right. But even if you're a young guy, I challenge you, try these techniques. This will smoke your deltoids. You will get a crazy workout. Matter of fact, I think you will feel it much more where you want to feel it and less of where you don't want to feel it, which is your joints. Because even if you're in your 20s, it's still really easy to get those injuries. Here we go. Ah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After this set, I'll share a little story with you that I think you'll relate to. Here we go. Oh, let me do one. Nice. So the other day, my wife and Nick was taking our daughter to school, and school's not too far from here, and so a lot of times she'll take the golf cart. It's only a couple miles away. So I get this phone call. She's like, I need you to come get us. Golf cart broke down. I'm like, okay. So I go there, and the thing's dead. I'm like, well, you sure it's charged? Yep, it was plugged in. Plugged into the cart. But was the charger plugged into the wall? So long story short, the battery died. But I still had to get the cart home. So I said, okay, well, we'll tow it home. Because I had stuff on the trailer that we usually use to tow it. Although I probably would have been better off emptying the trailer. So use a strap. I said, you drive the truck, I'll drive the golf cart. I'm like, but take it easy. So we got to a stop sign. She looked both ways, and then she starts to go. You can imagine what happened. That strap got really loose at the stop sign, and when she took off, it tightened up really quick and almost ripped off the brush guard on the front of the golf cart. Where I'm going with this is when we do a lot of jerky movements, using a lot of momentum and moving really fast, our connective tissue isn't that different. And the more that you're putting sudden stress on that connective tissue, the more likely you are to cause an injury. So just like you would want to accelerate a little more slowly, gradually create tension on the strap to pull the golf cart, same thing with the connective tissue. We want to gradually build tension throughout that range of motion. And that's why control is so important and really helps avoid a lot of that unnecessary wear and tear like we talked about. So that was set 3, right? Got the nod. Got the nod. That was set 3. So if you're following along on the PDF that you can download for free on jamesgrage.com, link in the description of this video, you'll notice that we're deviating here, and that's because I'm just trying to mix it up, have some fun, and give you some different options. But taking a glance here anyway, see what else we had. So we had shoulder press, we had lateral raises, we did both of those. We have shrugs, and then we have a front raise. We'll do a front raise today. Now, I've said this before, if I'm doing a lot of, say, dumbbell presses for chest, or, a lot of people like to do a lot of bar presses or even machine presses. If you're doing a lot of pressing movement, especially any kind of incline presses for upper chest, you are working a ton of anterior delt with all those movements. And so I've said this before, but most people are not lacking development in their anterior delts. Now, if you were training with bands only, and I did it for 4.5 years, it was the one exception in all my training where I opted to integrate more front raises, which works the anterior delt, because I wasn't doing quite as much pressing movement as I would if I was doing, free weights. Because with free weights, you're doing a lot of compound movements. With the bands, because you have a little more flexibility in your movement, you can make them a little more targeted. So for example, with a press, this would look like a traditional press. You see there's a lot of movement at the elbow, there's a lot of triceps. But with bands, I can come in here and I can squeeze to the middle and make a press almost like I would with a fly. And so I'm taking a little bit of triceps out of it, taking a little bit of the anterior delt out of it, and targeting the chest a little more. So It's my long-winded way of saying if I train with bands a lot, I do incorporate front raises. So we're going to do it with dumbbells and bands, both. So you see the technique translates between the two. The advantage of bands is just like our lateral raises, is we have tension right here at the beginning of the range of motion, whereas with dumbbells, we don't have a whole lot. So grab low enough to create tension here at the beginning of the movement. And we're gonna raise, I'm gonna actually drop down because that triggered that shoulder. Here we go. With bands, nice thing is you can adjust your hand position. See how my thumbs are up here? This feels a little bit better than turning them. That aggravates that shoulder more. So I have more freedom in movement, or a lot of freedom in movement, to find a range of motion that feels comfortable. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, one more. So the reason that was aggravating my shoulder, it's not just your anterior delt that helps with this, believe it or not. The long head of your biceps is assisting with this as well. And so that tendon comes up here into your labrum in your shoulder. So that movement right there is a sensitive one because that's my shoulder issue. It's not really the shoulder, it's that tendon for the long head of the biceps. And get that pain right here in the front. So sometimes if you feel that and you find yourself sticking your thumb right in there in that little pocket, a lot of times it's the biceps tendon. You have to remember that so many things cross the shoulder. Biceps cross the shoulder. Part of our triceps crosses the shoulder. Chest crosses the shoulder. Muscles in our back. So there's a lot of things going in that small little area there. So just because you have a pain in this region doesn't mean it's your shoulder, or at least the muscles of your shoulder. Right. Again, I'm going to go light with these. Same exact thing that I just did with the bands. I'm probably going to take a more neutral position, which is this. So the dumbbell's kind of sitting at a 45-degree angle. If I were just to rest my hand here, it's about how it would sit. I wouldn't sit like this or like this. So that's a natural, neutral position. And so I'm going to keep that throughout this range of motion. And I'm going to stop short right here. Keep that constant tension. Now I can't use momentum. I can't swing there at the beginning. That's 7. One more. All right, now I'm going to transition back to that band. A few more reps. Now, one of the worst things that I used to do early in my training, and I see it a lot in the gym, and it makes me cringe, not because I'm judging their technique, because that'd make me a hypocrite. It makes me cringe because it makes my shoulders hurt just watching. I'm even hesitant to even do this. I'm going to do it with super lightweight so I don't screw myself up in the process. But I'll see people do single arms. And again, I've seen pro bodybuilders throughout my entire 34 years of training. I've seen them doing this one. They'll do singles and they'll use a lot of momentum. And it's terrible. I advise against it. But if you're going to do it at your own risk, man. When you do it that way, yeah, you can sling a lot of weight. But one, you're using this part of the range of motion where you don't have any tension. You're using that to generate that momentum. And then a lot of times they're using a lot of body movement too to get even more momentum to sling that weight up there. And then they're not even strong enough to even hold it in that position. So it just goes up and straight back down. There's no control there. Zero. So it's not about heavyweight versus lightweight like everyone wants to make it out to be. It's not about that. It's about using as heavy weight as you can while controlling it. And sometimes that ends up being lightweight. But it's not a lightweight versus heavyweight thing. All right, I'm gonna do one more of these. Friday for me, it's kind of a fun workout. Not as intense as our leg workout like yesterday. All right, here we go. Now, same thing here with leverage like we talked about. Getting that light weight out far from your body, that light weight feels heavy. Even have a little test for you. Put your arm straight out in front of you. See how long you can hold it there. Pretty soon you're going to start to feel that muscle catch on fire. Same thing. Middle delts, keeping those arms out at your sides. It's easy at first. Doesn't take a lot of weight. Anyone who's ever like painted above their head knows what that feeling is. All right, here we go. Yeah. One more. Nice. Matter of fact, that's why simple movement like arm circles will make your shoulders burn, which is exactly what we're going to finish off with here. So we're going to do them nice and controlled and a little bit of an exaggerated movement. So in other words, bigger circles. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're going to go backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Halfway there. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. Oh. Nice. Stretch it out real quick. Arm across the body. Arms overhead. Pull back. Lean to one side a little. Another side. Nice. Well, that's it for me. It's a good shoulder workout. Was able to get through it despite having that nagging injury. So for me, that is a win. Live to die another day. So that's a wrap for this week as far as our videos. If you're following the PDF, then you're still going to have tomorrow's workout, which is going to be a full body workout, moderate level intensity. Go in there and challenge yourself. You don't have to destroy yourself on each of those body parts, but get in there, get a good workout, and then I will see you on Monday where we come back for chest and triceps.